everybody. Today we're going to talk about the Internet of Things. And first off, let's just talk about it as the future technology of what it's developing to be. Internet of Things will allow devices to be able to communicate to each other via the Internet. So the obvious advantages are communication. Devices can communicate their status to other devices, which will allow for automation, monitoring, status control. You can automatically update things. You could have AI when a signal comes in saying, hey, I have low inventory, then the AI can automatically order new supplies, or again monitoring fire alarms or any kind of stuff. Basically all devices, again, if IoT becomes full blown, all kinds of devices will be able to communicate their status to each other, making the whole internet or the economy more efficient, useful, things like that. So that's what the goal of the Internet of Things is about. We're going to explore that using Arduino. So let's run over, take a look at the, let's first off, let's kind of get an idea again of how this is going to work. We have clients and servers in the internet. A server is a device that waits for clients to talk to it. A client always has to be the initiator, and it sends a request to the server responds and sends something back to the client. Okay, so that's the basic idea. The clients always start the process. The server sends back what they need. Clients can be, in our case, the client's going to be an Arduino board. Well, the server is going to be an Arduino board. Client's going to be my laptop, but again, it could be any other device. It doesn't really matter. It's just the whole idea of a client trying to talk to a server and get something done. Okay, so let's kind of sling down, see what we're going to look at. You're probably familiar with HTTP. That's the way the web works, and we're going to be using HTTP. We're going to be using, HTTP uses the get and the post commands. We'll be doing get here. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our web browser, and we're going to type the words, we're going to type what web browser we want to communicate to, and then the command we want to send it. Okay, so again, you can kind of take a look at this, see how it's going. Okay, so what we're going to do in Arduino, we're going to create a web server, and we are going to give it 5 commands. Handle 1 on, handle 1 off, handle 2 on, handle 2 off, and get analog. Okay, handle one will be one LED, handle 2 will be a different LED, red and green LEDs. So you have your red and green LED stuff, that's, we've done that, we've used that, a common thing. Okay, let's take a look. I'm gonna, rather than looking at it here, I'm gonna switch over to the code itself. Okay. Here's the Arduino code. I will post this up because I know you don't want to type all this in, but let's go over it. We're going to be using a new library, ESP8266 web server. Then once we include that, then we're going to create an instance of the server, call it server. And again, 80 is the normal port we use for internet connections. I think I said earlier that we use it for Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is simply the internet. So 80 is the normal connection used when you want to do internet connections. Okay, so we have 5 programs. Handle 1 on. Essentially all we're going to do is turn on an LED at pin 14, and then we are going to send a text back to the browser saying that LED 1 is on. And we do that for handle 1 off, same thing. We just simply turn it off and tell the user that it's now off. Handles 2 on and off, same thing. We're going to turn the other LED on and off and tell the user. For get analog, what we're going to do is we're just simply going to read the ADC port, which is port 0. It's going to give us random numbers, and we're just going to go ahead and say, okay, fine, give me that random number and send it to the web browser. Tell the client what the ADC port is looking at right now. Okay, so those are our functions. Then in setup, we're going to again notice we have our serial port, but we're going to be our serial monitor, but we're going to be transferring at 115,200. Our Wi-Fi mode, Wi-Fi.ap forces the Arduino to go into server mode. Sometimes if you don't put that in, it'll do it, but you just want to be certain, so you say Wi-Fi AP. Your choices are either Wi-Fi AP, which is access point, which is server, or Wi-Fi stay, which means you're a station and you're listening. Okay, or yeah. The name we're going to give our AP is WebLights. This is the SSID. And then we inform our server of 5 functions. When you see server.on, when you see the command come in LED1 on, then go to the function handle 1 off. Handle 1 on. Same thing with LED1 off, LED2 on. Each time you see the command, go to the appropriate function, last one being analog. And then we say server begin. And then we have our 2 pins 16 and 14 as our LEDs. Again, you can, whatever pin you want is fine, but most of the time we're using 16 and 14. Okay, then in loop, we just simply turn on handle client. So the server begins listening for clients. So you upload this, and when you upload, you should see WebLights come in. I've already connected to WebLights. Okay, so I'm good to go. And basically then, now it's just a question of let's go to a website. I've got my download Brian on. Okay, and I'm going to simply type 192.168.4.1, which is my server address. And then I say LED1 on. And when I do, voila, there we go. I've got my LED on. Okay, now I'm going to switch this to off and hit enter. And 2 things. You see the LED off. Also, you see LED 1 off on my browser. I forgot to show you that to you on the other one, so I'm going to do this I'm going to type in LED 2 on and hit enter, and hopefully my green LED came on. And if you look at my web browser, it says LED 2 on. Then last but not least, I want to turn it back off. And again, these are all simply commands from my keyboard to my Arduino board via the internet. Okay, so now I say LED 2 off, and again my LED turned off plus my command at my web browser said it's now off. Last one, I want to see what is going on with my A to D converter. What number is it reading? And it says 65. And if I resend that request, it will give me a new number. And as long as I just keep hitting that request, I'll get whatever random number is going on with the A to D converter. Okay, so that's how we start with our Internet of Things. So once again, by way of review, ESP8266 web server, you have to get that. Create your functions. So I'm going to go over this sort of generically. you create your web server, you create what functions you want the web server to respond to, you give it the commands down here as when you see this word, respond with this function. Okay, so generically, again, you can see from our from our LED lights, you could change this into anything you want. Okay, so you just give it the command line and then tell it what function to go and execute, and then last but not least, just say server.handleClient. So you turn it into a server waiting for clients to talk to it. Last but not least, make sure that you have whatever your SSID, you have it connected to that. And that's how you start with the Internet of Things. Okay, so try it out on your own. You can try different commands. You could have it play music. You could do whatever you want. But again, generically, this is how we do that. Okay. All right, hope this helps. See you next time. We'll work on the client side.